got something under his cape.
Los crímenes de Oxford es una historia de crímenes es un whodunit, es una película, hay que saber quién es el asesino. Lo que pasa es que intenta, de alguna manera, en una segunda lectura, romper un poco el código, ¿no? Romper un poco los mecanismos de la historia habitual de crímenes.
With this script, there really is no filler. Every scene is of some importance. Every word of dialogue has an immense amount of importance to it.
What is this, an exam? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle.
Bingo!
I'd say over all of the notes that we get from Alex, speeding the words up seems to be the most important.
Miss Scarlett will have changed her appearance or her position.
That was the overriding thing that we, as the actors, have gotten in regards to a direction, and something that we've always had to remember. I think it was John who has said on a number of times, it has to be a souffle, he said.
It has to be kept always up in the air, which is what I mean by a souffle, really. It can't allow it to sink.
Al ser una película de diálogos era un gran esfuerzo conseguir que eso funcione. ¿Por qué? Porque sé cuál es la solución, cortar los diálogos. Entonces, si cortas los diálogos, destruyes la película. Lo que pasa es que quiero que el diálogo funcione y que no aburra. Quiero que sea entretenido y sobre todo que sea apasionante, que la gente disfrute con lo que se está comentando en la película, con lo que se está discutiendo en la peli. Una de las cosas que quería conseguir es que la gente entrara en el juego mental de los personajes, ¿no? O sea, que realmente te importara saber si es posible conocer la verdad, que siguieras a dos tipos que saben más que tú acerca de, pues bueno, de Wittgenstein o de Heisenberg y intentases seguir su juego mental, ¿no?
Even though you're trying to be smarter than the author and you're trying to kind of go ahead and say, it's very difficult.
Do you know anything about Seldom's friend?
Carmen? What's wrong?
He's been murdered today at 2:15.
No, wait a second.
That's the responsibility that scares me as an actress, is that you don't want to sort of try and act too much like the innocent, or you know, you have a duty to tell the story and not give anything away.
You should be able to get to the end of the film and say, I should have got that. So, you think I'm the killer? What attracted me to the piece? Well, really, more than anything else, was the writing. And Alex de la Iglesia.
Alex is certainly one of the most unique people that I've worked with. He is incredibly good-natured. He is incredibly hilarious. And I think that kind of personality lends itself to a very relaxed atmosphere on set.
He's Alex. He is unique. He's unlike anybody else. My only frustration is I don't speak Spanish because I'm missing so much of him. I'm missing so much of his humour. I know he's got a foul mouth, which I've been warned about, but I love he's got this sort of childish kind of naughtiness about him. I'm completely committed to what he does, but there's something very, very unique about Alex. I just wish that I could understand everything that he says.
He's loud even for Spaniards. He's really kind of expressive, and he looks Italian. I mean, I imagine an Italian chef would be like that, kind of all over the place and shouting good things and bad things and everything. I think that made all the crew a bit scared at the beginning, the first 2 days, and then when they understood what he was going on about, very relaxed and very happy, and kind of it gives you this kind of very informal feeling. And then he's just very passionate. He's like a little kid when he sees something he likes. You can see it in his face. He sometimes gets into the shot because he's really, enjoying so much what he's seeing that he's kind of there in the shot. And if he doesn't like it, it's also like a 5-year-old kid. He'll kind of stomp the floor and that's I like that a lot. I mean, there's no gray areas of did he like it or not. It's very, very obvious if he's happy or not.
I mean, I think all directors try and push things as much as they can. That's their job, in a way. They try and get everything they can. They try and put this very complicated vision onto the screen. And, when things aren't going quite as well as they wish, then sometimes they throw a few things around. And Alex is a very, very passionate individual. And, you can see his enthusiasm and his passion for filmmaking every minute that he is on the set.
Stand by, keep smoking up, this is gonna go. Here we go, stand by. Right on action, go, go, go! Go!
Shootings are a little bit like war. You have to take decisions like that very quickly, and you have to find solutions to the problems, to what it happens in reality in the set, and all the exterior conditions that makes you change what you had planned at home. So he's really good on that.
Can we know the truth? All the great thinkers throughout history have sought a single certainty, something which no one can refute, like 2 and 2 make 4. I wasn't particularly good at maths at school, no. I was quite good at algebra, oddly enough, much to my father's chagrin. My father was a double first in mathematics and engineering. My uncle was a double first of pure mathematics at Cambridge. So, but it seemed to skip a generation.
De lo que habla la película es las cosas tienen soluciones matemáticas. Al final el mundo da 2 o 4 o X, no. O sea, al final la solución es un número irracional, absurdo. Es un número que no funciona, es un 3, 15, 24, 76, que no gusta a nadie. Eso es lo terrorífico, ¿no? Que las cosas no encajan. Queremos que encajen, pero no encajan. Encajan en nuestro cerebro, encajan en las películas, pero no en la vida.
I've become really intrigued by mathematics of recent years. And I think that it seems to be something which is kind of in the zeitgeist, because there seems to be a much greater interest in mathematics than there used to be, certainly in my youth.
And I suspect it's greatly to do with the rise in education, that religion being the opium of the masses, you know, you cannot have education and religion at the same time. It doesn't seem to work somehow. And people are looking more to that which is provable. And the only thing that is provable, of course, is mathematics, as Wittgenstein points out, and as we also use his arguments in the film. That the only form of truth, of an absolute certainty, is in the mathematical world.
I mean, I have friends that are so good at it and enjoy it so much that they spend their free time working out mathematical equations for fun, which I think there's something kind of perverse about that, but I think it's kind of amazing and admirable as well.
There's so many elements to the story. It's like a lot of films in one film. And I personally can't wait to see it, to see all the other storylines. I mean, the amount of different characters in this and personalities, I know they're all brilliant, and there's flashbacks to other periods, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the segments that's true sort of, you know, Alex world, where it gets a little bit more darker and not violent, but slightly disturbed, and I'm really looking forward because he's so brilliant at making those sort of films.
His name is Kalman, one of my most brilliant students. He was quick in his conclusions, clear in his exposition. He designed intelligence tests. I initiated him to the study of logical.
Yes, they do.
Wittgenstein paradox.
Mr. Cox, bravo! It's alive!
It's alive.
It's alive, my friend!
My pal.
Thank you, Chief.
Julie and Leonore are absolutely delightful. I think we all hit it off very quickly in the rehearsal period of the film. And you know, they've both in different ways been wonderful to work with.
Playing the cello, it's one of those things when they say, can you play the cello? Like, no, but I'll learn. And then you realise actually you've got to do it. And I have the utmost respect now for musicians because it is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And play it convincingly, like you with an orchestra, a 40-piece orchestra. But I hate it when you see films and you see someone pretending they're doing something, and I know that they're not really doing it. So you feel like there's a duty to musicians to sort of, you know, make it look good for them as well. And I had a couple of lessons, and I needed years to really get to be able to play it. But saying that, when we did the concert scenes, I had a very nice man called Trevor who was sitting next to me on my right. There's 4 cellists in the orchestra. And he helped a lot, and in the end I was just sort of like, whatever he was doing, I was, you know, following him, and you just have to sort of convince yourself that you can do it, and just go for it, and I don't know, I think it worked.
I play the cello in the Sheldonian.
It's the local amateur orchestra.
Yes, we're not quite the London Symphony.
I love the cello.
Me too. Maybe it's because it's all I get to cuddle these days.
Beth, please.
Julie and I very quickly got on very well, and I think had a lot of fun with the kind of relationship that we have in the film, which is sort of romantically one-sided from her perspective and quite strained and strange. And I think we've had a blast working on those scenes, which are kind of unique. And Leonore's absolutely lovely and such a sweetheart and a wonderful actress as well.
The 2 characters of the girls in the film are really interesting, both of them, and kind of intriguing. And I was really flattered that they offered me Lorna, because I'm normally offered the kind of melancholic one, the one that has an inner life and doesn't kind of express it too much. And Lorna's just the opposite. She's kind of all the way out there and just really happy and just... She does have something awkward going on, but very mild. So I was really happy.
Con Leonor ya había trabajado previamente en la habitación del niño, entonces estaba muy a gusto con ella. Además, una de las condiciones que tenía el personaje era hablar perfectamente inglés, y Leonor, bueno, su madre es inglesa, entonces tenía un acento perfecto y en ese sentido pues era esencial para mí.
Translating his words into the Queen's English, we find ourselves faced with a fresh, rousing defense of mathematics. As if numbers were pre-existing ideas in reality.
Seldom es un personaje cínico, escéptico, no cree que seamos capaces de encontrar ninguna verdad absoluta. Sin embargo, Martin es totalmente opuesto. Martin es una persona joven que confía en sí mismo, confía sobre todo en las matemáticas como un mecanismo para llegar a la verdad, ¿no? Entonces él cree que existen verdades absolutas y que las podemos encontrar si somos lo suficientemente inteligentes. Conforme avanza la película, esos dos pensamientos, esas dos maneras de ver el mundo se enfrentan y ese es el motor de la historia.
The beauty and harmony of a snowflake.
Me vuelve loco John Hurt y me gusta muchísimo más ahora que he trabajado con él porque, bueno, yo siempre le había visto doblado, no sabía que tenía esa voz. Hasta que no he trabajado con él no he descubierto esa capacidad que tiene para verbalizar, tan asombrosa, ¿no? Y luego también es terriblemente generoso, o sea, me ofrecía un catálogo de posibilidades. John, digamos que es una máquina de vapor, es un individuo que tiene un poderío brutal, que tiene una fuerza y una cadencia. Entonces, saber conducirle hacia donde tú quieres requiere pensárselo.
Then I can let something flicker across my face of recognition of the fact this isn't true.
Tienes que tener mucho más claro lo que le pides y cómo se lo pides, porque en el caso de que te equivoques va a ser muy difícil cambiarle. O sea, no le puedes decir de pronto a mitad del rodaje, John, vamos a hacer otra cosa, porque no lo entiende, porque dice, bueno, no habíamos hablado de otra cosa. Entonces, tienes que tener muy claro lo que quieres. Entonces, cuando consigues acertar y lanzas el tren a vapor hacia donde tú quieres, destrozas o sea, consigues destrozar lo que tú quieres. O sea, entra como una bala, como un cañón, ¿no? Eso es magnífico también.
Well, let me give you a quote from the late, great Orson Welles. And I had the good fortune of working with him in A Man for All Seasons. And he was talking about this very subject and talking about experience. And he said, don't imagine that experience makes it any easier. And I was intrigued by this, and I said, Mr. Wells, I said, forgive me, but I'm quite sure you're right, but could you explain yourself there? And he said, well, certainly, certainly. The more experience you have, the more choices you realize there are. And I think that really hits the nail on the head.
Elaya me parece que es una de las mejores personas a las que he conocido en el mundo del cine, ¿no? Es un monstruo cinematográfico, es una persona que empieza a trabajar a los 8 años y el cine no es algo ajeno a su vida, sino que precisamente es su vida. Y lo ajeno es el relacionarse fuera de las películas. Está más acostumbrado a estar dentro de una película que fuera. Entonces, es alucinante, es una delicia trabajar con él. Terriblemente educado, terriblemente amable y sobre todo muy comprensivo. O sea, cuando realmente veía que yo estaba en una situación difícil, él me apoyaba siempre. Y eso ha sido fantástico para mí. Además de, como ya os cuento, intentar siempre facilitar las cosas. Trabajar con Elijah Wood es infinitamente más fácil que trabajar con un actor inexperto. Sabe todo acerca de la cámara, sabe dónde colocarse, sabe casi cómo estar a foco. Digamos que es casi él el que absorbe la luz cuando Kiko lo ilumina. Ya os digo, eso es un animal cinematográfico, yo no he visto nada igual. O sea, le pides cualquier cosa que te va a decir ok. Y le dices, bueno, vamos a cambiar totalmente de lo que estábamos haciendo, vamos a hacer otra cosa totalmente distinta, ok. Ahora, quiero decir, no caes en este sentido, caes en este otro, y vamos a cambiar el tono de voz, no lo vas a decir suplicando, sino que lo vas a decir de una manera agresiva, ok. era una gozada. Era, ya te digo, era infinitamente manipulable. Y eso para un director es magnífico, ¿no?
I know Alex is completely in love with him. It's complete infatuation.
Alex, hecho? Okay.
He's unusual for an American actor. His approach is very European. His approach to living is he doesn't have an entourage. He doesn't come with friends and people all around him. He knows his way around very well. He's very confident.
I was actually quite nervous to work with John, slightly intimidated.
But he's not overconfident. He's not brash.
Within our first rehearsals, I realized very quickly that we were coming at it from a similar perspective.
He's not playing the part of an actor, is what I mean. It's just, that is what he does.
And we've become very close in working together.
I don't feel as though I'm working with an alien.
I believe in the number pi.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. What was it you said you believed in?
In the number pi, in the golden section, the Fibonacci series.
I don't know if there's anything mathematical about good acting. It's interesting. I'd be curious to see how that could be broken down, particularly great performances of the past, and could you actually, is there some mathematical formula that can connect all of those? I'm not sure.
The question is always the same, is how do you act? And of course there is no actual answer to that, which makes being interviewed quite difficult sometimes when you're talking about acting. And I've often used Dame Edith Evans' great reply when she was asked by a young and enthusiastic interviewer straight down from Cambridge about how she approached her part. I mean, how did she get into the role?